What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So on the second channel, Spawn Wave Plus, I talked about PlayStation 5 pre-orders for a website having issues and them having to cancel or even delay some of those pre-orders, letting customers know through email. Wasn't sure how big of a deal it would be and how much it would spread, but it does look like now even GameStop is having some issues with allocations for pre-orders. We're going to talk about that here today and some of the concerns it seems that people are having for stock with those PlayStation 5 systems going into release day. We also have to go over Cyberpunk 2077, as it looks like development is not going as smoothly as they were hoping. Previously, they claimed that there wouldn't be any type of crunch necessary to get this game done. However, now it looks like they will be crunching to get this game out by the end of November. As always, guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if brand new here, hit that red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers, hopefully by the end of this year. And we're going to start today with Starfield. Now, before we had talked about how the first real look, I guess, that we had was an alleged image that leaked out online. 4chan, Reddit, all of this, it kind of spread online. We're still not 100% sure how legitimate that image is. However, it is being claimed that it was from a build in 2018 in early development. It at least gave us a look at the HUD and some of the images on screen that you'll be dealing with, like oxygen levels and of course health and energy. Well, we get another image. You can see it right here. Same source seems to have leaked this one out. It's just basically a different perspective of the same scene, it appears, so you can get a better look at the, I guess, the landing base on screen. And along with this image, there is a claim that it is coming out in 2021, and I do think we'll see Starfield in 2021. Like, they'll have a, reveal for it, whether it's a trailer or straight gameplay and all of this, right? We'll just at least get a good look at it. I don't know if it's coming out, say, a year from now, holiday 2021. I wouldn't rule it out necessarily, but that does seem kind of soon considering we haven't seen anything. I mean, the most we have to go on are 2 leaked images that are alleged and haven't even been completely proven online. So hard to say if we're really that close to Starfield releasing basically a year from now, but I am hopeful because the idea, of course, of taking something like the Elder Scrolls formula into space is at least interesting. Oh, and check this out. Do you remember Jump Rope Challenge? It was this, fun little app that was released because a lot of people were staying at home, of course, because of the pandemic, and it seemed that Nintendo mentioned that developers created this just to kind of keep active at home, and it looks like it's going to stick around because originally it was supposed to go away on the 30th of September, but Nintendo tweeted this out here saying, "Thanks to all players of Jump Rope Challenge for recording 2.5 billion total jumps. As new jumpers are joining, the free download will be available until further notice and will not be removed from Nintendo eShop on September 30th. I'm not 100% sure why they felt like they had to take it down in the first place. I mean, they just kind of made it, threw it together. It was free and it was something fun to put up there. I don't know, do they need like the extra space on the eShop or something? It seemed weird that they wouldn't just leave it there, but at least now it looks like they will until further notice. So we'll see how much longer it lasts on the eShop, but check it out. It's just a fun little app that has you jumping up and down with your Joy-Cons kind of moving. Also, we did get our look at Crown Tundra, which is the second part of the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass. It is coming out October 22nd. This was all revealed in about a 10-minute long video that they put up on YouTube. Hit #1 trending immediately, of course, and for the most part, it looks pretty good for it being half of the expansion pass, but the biggest thing that everyone's really excited about is it looks like they're bringing in all of the legendary Pokemon from previous games into this expansion. It's interesting to see that. I mean, it makes sense because it's a good way to sell it. Apparently, you kind of explore the Crown Tundra, and I guess the further you go in, the more legendary Pokemon you will find. I mean, they showed a whole grid of like all of them, even showing like Dragonite even being in there as you explore through. So that's pretty cool. There are a lot of other things that they mentioned as well. The biggest part, of course, being a new area with these legendary Pokemon. That was the thing that I saw getting passed around quite a bit online. They also went over some different features with Pokemon Go, being able to transfer Pokemon through to Pokemon Home, and then of course to your games as well. So for the most part, a pretty fun surprise to see all of the legendary Pokemon pop up. You'll just have to grab them October 22nd, and we'll see which ones are the most, I guess, sought after and which ones are the hardest to get as you explore through. But not a bad addition there for Pokemon Sword and Shield. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We're starting right away with the PlayStation 5 pre-order situation. Seems to be all over the place, right? When they first announced the pre-orders, it was like immediate. A retailer just said, all right, we're going live, and then everyone else did too. Mad scramble. Pre-orders were all over the place. It was tough to get because websites were crashing. People were everywhere. But afterwards, we did get kind of a replenishment, I guess, with GameStop recently, but it seems that some locations maybe took more pre-orders than they were supposed to, and now we're seeing some being delayed out even until 2021. Check this out from VGC, Video Game Chronicles, as they noted that several of their readers had been messaging that there were messages from GameStop going out through emails. You can see one here. Thanks for reserving your place in the queue for the PlayStation 5. We know you want to get your hands on the console as soon as possible, but unfortunately, due to circumstances out of our control, we've now got confirmation that we won't be able to fill your pre-order until 2021. Now, that is like the biggest headline going around right now, is that GameStop delayed PlayStation 5 pre-orders. But you have to keep in mind, this appears to be in one region right now. This is GameStop Ireland that is sending these emails out, and we're going to see a worldwide launch from Sony. I think some are staggered by like a week, but for the most part, they're trying to tackle everything mostly all at once, right? So they're allocating systems to different regions based on demand, and it's pretty clear that they will probably take a large sum of those PlayStation 5 systems and put them in the United States, because that's like their biggest target recently, right? Where they're selling a lot of systems, then spread out, of course, over Europe and all of this. But some places are just going to get less than others. It seems this is something we're going to start seeing more and more, I think, around the world, with different locations that are taking a substantial amount of pre-orders. We just talked about Shop2, like I said, on the second channel. They had a similar situation. I had a feeling they were guessing at their pre-orders. It is odd that GameStop would do something similar. GameStop buys in bulk, right? They are one large company. They have over 5,000 stores. They all come together. They put a big order in that helps them buy. It helps them allot systems because they're doing one massive purchase. So it is at least an account that most of these companies will pay more attention to, because they'll order like hundreds of thousands of systems if they can get a hold of them. That's something that Best Buy and Walmart will also be doing. So it's going to be interesting to see if this also hits other regions, especially in the US, where while GameStop is at least the one near me getting like 20 PlayStation 5 pre-orders in at a time, keep in mind that's spread out over thousands of different stores. So there is some concern, I will admit, for anyone who's pre-ordered at something like a GameStop, even a Walmart or a Best Buy or Target. It's really anyone's guess if they will be delayed in some fashion. Now, they are saying you wouldn't be getting it until 2021. That, I think, is also a guess. It's probably a very conservative number, like, oh, it could be months, but we could also get another shipment randomly. Even Sony seems kind of unsure as to how some of these pre-orders are working, the way they talk about, oh, we'll have more coming, more will show up eventually. We're not really sure when, but they'll show up eventually. The whole situation with the pre-orders just was bad right from the start, because they said they'd tell us at least a good bit in advance, and then they kind of didn't. So we'll see. The biggest thing here is I keep seeing more and more places say that pre-orders are being delayed. Amazon sent out an email, of course, saying, we don't know if you'll have it on release day. It might be the end of the month. Same thing with the Series X. It just seems all over the place right now. So here's hoping you don't get one of these emails that says it's been delayed and you can get your system day one. But let me know if you have seen any email like this come through telling you that your pre-order's gonna be delayed, or let me know at time of checkout if they hit you with like a week delay or something. Because like for me, the Xbox Series X, I won't be getting it until like 2 days after release, and I assume that's just shipping time because they are getting it on release at Walmart. Next up, let's talk about CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk 2077, which is right now one of my most anticipated games of this year, right? It would have been my most anticipated game of like the beginning of this year, and then like middle of the year with September. Right now, we'd be playing Cyberpunk. Now it's November. It's been delayed quite a bit, right? Like it's kind of been all over the place. The development felt kind of strange, but for the most part, it seems like they just needed more time to polish the game. That's what they said. It's content complete. They're just looking to work out some extra bugs just to make sure it's at that CD Projekt level that we would expect, right? Well, it seems that they are going to have to leverage crunch, despite saying previously that they would not have to do that. And you like to assume that's why these delays happen, but you can see this tweet here linking to the story from Jason Schreier saying, last year, the bosses of CD Projekt Red approached me for an interview. They wanted to announce that for Cyberpunk 2077, they would be avoiding mandatory crunch. This week, they sent out an email to staff announcing studio-wide mandatory crunch. Jason goes on further to tweet, many developers on Cyberpunk 2077, one of the most hotly anticipated games of 2020, have been working overtime hours for months, if not years now, but this call for 6-day work weeks, mandatory crunch, directly reneges on what CD Projekt Red's boss told me last year, and that is true. Jason Schreier had asked like straight up with them, will you have to leverage Crunch to get this done? And they said multiple times, no, we can commit that we will not have to do Crunch. We're trying to do better in the CD Projekt Red workplace and all of this. But I do think it's also important to mention that this will be paid overtime. It just appears to be mandatory, or you're being leaned on heavily to be there for 50, 60 hours a week with 6-day work weeks and all of this. It's certainly not a great thing to see. Crunch is a problem in games, and most of the time, from what I've seen, it has to start at the top. Management, planning, all of this, the roadmap that's laid out. Cyberpunk 2077 has had a bumpy roadmap. That's putting it lightly right now. I mean, it was supposed to have been out in April. They delay it then to September. Now they've delayed it to November. And we kind of look at that and say, okay, we've had this issue with the pandemic, COVID, all this stuff, remote work. We've seen big games like Halo delayed as well, right? But this game has been pushed several times, and it's been in development for a long, long time. What was it, 2013 when the Twitter account was made and we started hearing rumblings of it? It was exciting stuff then. Fast forward now 7 years later, and you know what? It very well could get delayed again. It was something that's been brought up. Should they delay it? Well, the past delays haven't really helped much with Crunch. The fact that it's content complete, allegedly, according to them, but they're still going to have to crunch to get these bugs out of the game is not leaving a lot of confidence that another delay would really help with Crunch. In fact, they might just find more bugs and say, well, you know what, we got to get these bugs done too. And if they've been crunching for like the last year, it's a bad situation. I hope they just get this game done and out, because it does seem like there's going to be a massive toll taken either way on the developers of this game. I'm sure the game's going to be really, really good, right? Sure. But at what cost seems to be the question that's brought up a lot here. But we'll see. I am curious if they do have to delay it, because it hasn't gone gold yet. They might go gold like midway through October, but if we're coming up to the beginning of November and it still has not gone gold and they're expecting to ship it in 3 weeks then from the start of November, I don't know. We might be in for another one. And what'll happen then? Because that means we would have been delayed, and then delayed again. It almost becomes meme status then for Cyberpunk 2077. Is it going to come out, or are we just looking at another delay? Next up, let's talk about Microsoft's Game Pass, of course, for the Xbox or PC, because we had a bunch of news yesterday for it. One was when EA Play would show up, because remember, it was announced that they would basically be merging them together. So, like, for example, I have EA Play, and then I also have Game Pass. Basically, what'll happen is it'll roll into it. So EA Play will be canceled. It just becomes part of Game Pass. That's a pretty good value overall. For example, we have Squadrons coming out this week on Friday. If you have EA Play, generally you will have some sort of trial of like I think 5 or 6 hours or so. I did that with Need for Speed Heat. I liked the game, so I bought it at a discount anyway. I just grabbed it digitally at the time, and then I actually picked it up physically because it was on like ridiculous sale later on, right? Physically, so that actually worked out really well, and I'm curious to try it with Squadrons, but it is being rolled in, and we have a release date for it. It's November 10th when the Series X comes out, so good news there for anyone looking forward to kind of getting a vault of some of the EA games through like the past years. But then we also found out when more Game Pass games were going to be coming in this month coming up. As for the new additions to Game Pass, they put out a little chart here showing all of the different title cards. We of course know Doom Eternal, that is October 1st. And then we have Drake Hollow, also October 1st, following along that. Brutal Legend, October 8th. That is a really fun game. We'll come back to that one. Forza Motorsport 7, October 8th. And then Inkfell, October 8th. Now, Brutal Legend is a fun game I would check out. I remember when it came out back on the 360, it was this weird kind of action adventure, but then it would turn into like this tower defense strategy style game, but it was voiced by Jack Black. It was really out there, but it was pretty fun. Obviously, the one you want to try out, though, that's apparently just in the first week or so of October, a lot of Game Pass stuff here, that would be Doom Eternal. That's one that if you missed it, might as well download and play it. It'll probably be up for several awards in December along with that Game Awards show, so might as well try it out and see what you think of it. But not a bad bit of Game Pass news here, with EA Play showing up during the Series X launch day and the Series S, and then some pretty cool stuff to try out in the beginning of October. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about the Atari VCS. I'm not kidding, I might actually get this system. I'm surprised too. It looks like Atari took several pictures, one of which made the rounds showing them loading up Atari VCS systems to ship out to backers. That's me. Like I said, I might actually get this system this year. I'm absolutely floored. Here, let's take a look at the image here. You can see it says it's happening. Atari VCS backers units are on the way. The first batch of Atari VCS is on the way to the United States, where they will be sorted and shipped to Indiegogo backers very soon. Check out the latest and see some exclusive factory photos. It appears that about 6,000 or so are going to be filled first, so that's good. Keep in mind, if you order it on like Walmart, they're guaranteeing you shipment, or at least the system to get to you by December 24th. So this should be, as they're showing here, 6,000, a pretty large amount kind of getting done now. I'm still a little shocked that I'm getting it. People are like zooming in on this photo. They're like running forensic scans, trying to figure out if they really are doing this, because that's how far along we are with Atari on this. Like, it's hard to trust them for any of this stuff. And honestly, I don't even know if it's really going to show up. It could just be like a box with the Atari logo on it, and it's just terrible device that they just say, oh, yep, that's the Atari VCS. And it was a waste of money. But technically, I think based on what they do with Indiegogo, they could get away with it. So that's my biggest thing now. I might be getting the system, but what kind of quality are we looking at here with it? So, hey, it should make for a fun tech wave, I think, right? Fun video if it really does show up. But yeah, I'm a little surprised. I think most people even forgot about this thing. So, hey, keep your eyes out. We're going to see if this Atari VCS actually shows up. Oh, and I ordered a controller too, so we'll see if that comes with it as well. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from So Sick Rick saying, quick resume is going to be dope when you're playing something from Bethesda and then someone wants to play Halo Infinite for a few hours, then you jump back into your Starfield, Fallout, Elder Scroll, Doom, etc. Yeah, that's a good point, because I do know back on like the 360, we'd play a lot of Halo 3, but then I'd be playing a different game like a Brutal Legend, just as an example, right? Something single player. And the whole process of shutting that game down, starting up Halo, playing a few rounds, if that, and then they have to jump off, and then it ended up being a lot of time spent just getting around right between games. The idea of quick resume is good for that. A single player game, going from that to multiplayer to play a few rounds with a friend, and then they kind of have to get off, you jump back over. That is something I would probably use it for. So that's a good point. And I do like the idea of these systems just being faster, like just snappier. The UI is going to be way better on the PS5 versus the PS4 and the Series X versus the One X. So that is a big upgrade, because either system can be painfully slow, whether it's on their kind of the network where you're going through the shop and all this, or just even kind of browsing around the home menu. So looking forward to picking either one up, just for kind of that quality of life upgrade when it comes to just saving time. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. Enjoyed this video, guys. Hit the like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today. But there's the PlayStation 5 pre-orders seemingly getting more and more delayed in some regions. Now, of course, we're hearing GameStop Ireland running into issues themselves. Let me know, like I said, if you have run into this issue with an email that was sent to you. I saw people saying Amazon was sending them out, so let me know about that down below. Also, Cyberpunk 2077. I do feel like the management has had some issues here with this game, delaying several times and still having to leverage crunch to get it done, but let me know your thoughts on that situation as well. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.